Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear it for our special guest host, Jeff Bright.
This is Tia Land coming to you live from the Alliance headquarters here in Burlington, North Carolina. And in a second, I will introduce our host for this week, Jeff Bright. But let's go over a couple of things. It's a big week. We have Stage 2 Success coming up this Friday. We're going to kick off everything. We've got a couple of fun things happening in the office before we get started with our main show. So 10 a.m., you can start registering at 10 a.m. Jeff Bright is hosting a team building activity that you had to sign up for. So a lot of you signed up for that. 140 people are going to be doing the Hat Factory. That will take place in the basement. So from 10 to 12:30, that's going on. And then you are welcome to hang out with everybody around the office, go meet staff, go meet the carriers. They will be here. The Alliance store will be open. And then from 1 to 3:30, Stephanie Lee in President's Club has planned a lot of fun team activities and games upstairs in the sales department. So if you're like, Tia, where's upstairs? Don't worry, you'll figure it out. There's plenty of people walking around. There's maps. Everybody will be up and down and all over the place, and you'll kind of catch on real quick on how this place is laid out. We've got VIP parking, partner parking. That's kind of new this year. Lots of fun things happening. And then if you're one of the people coming in just a little bit later, so if you're traveling on Friday morning, we're going to officially kick off at 5:30 with, call it like movie night. Like movie date night or movie night with your girlfriends or your friends. You are going to head to the movie theater, which will be in Prosperity Hall. We're going to do heavy appetizers. I know we've got popcorn machines and all the fun movie things, candy, anything that you would expect to have at a movie night. And then we will kick off the main show. It's going to be a fun time. We have a lot of fun stuff planned. 10 different skits will happen throughout the weekend, sprinkled in with training panels. You can pick which panel you want to go to. You can stay in the main stage or go see somebody else in one of the other larger rooms. And then other main stage speakers. So a lot of fun stuff. I hope you got your tickets. There's not a lot of tickets out there. I know like some people are like, hey, has anybody got some tickets? Don't think anybody's selling any, but they are still for sale on theallianceevents.com. You can check that out. I would also just become familiar with that website. Make sure you know where everything is on there. The agenda, a skeleton agenda is on there. Details, what to wear, where to park, etc. Everything is on there. We are very excited to see you. I know a lot of you are excited to do the team building activity with Jeff Bright. Jeff and I have worked together for 8 years here at headquarters. He is one of our consultants, is what they call him. I think he has an official title, but consultant, I think is what we go by. But Jeff has been a great friend of mine, a great mentor to me. He's taught me a lot over the years, and I know that he has taught you guys a lot about yourselves and the personalities that you have. And I'm honored to call him my friend and grateful to have you as a mentor. Please welcome to the stage, Jeff Bright.
Thank you, Tia. Very, very kind words. And I just want you guys to know there's a lot of people putting this event on that's happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I can't name everybody that's making this happen. It seems to you as a participant that it just seems like it's happening seamlessly and everything is just, it's easy. It's easy because all these people work very, very hard. But Tia is the straw that stirs the drink. And I encourage all of you, she won't encourage you to do this, but I encourage all of you to go up and thank the people that are helping putting this on and go up and tell Tia that you appreciate everything she does because it's very stressful to put one of these on. And her smile may not say it, but she's got a lot on her and there's a lot of things going on. And she makes sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. And her wonderful staff that she has helps her pull that off. So that doesn't go unnoticed by me because I'm here and I'm watching them scurry around. And making sure you have the best possible time you can here. We're happy to welcome you to the corporate site. It's a fabulous building. I first saw it in this dates me a little bit. Let me go back in history now. 1995, 96. I first came over here, and it was a manufacturing company, and they manufactured Afghans and blankets. And everywhere that you're going to be seated in the convention, especially in the area where we have dinners, those were filled with knitting machines. As far as I could see, was knitting machines. The office that I'm sitting in now was, I think it's kind of appropriate. I didn't pick it because of this, but this was the HR ladies, Cindy Matthews. That was her name. I can't believe I remember that name. That was the HR ladies' office right here where I'm sitting. So when I walk in here, I remember 1995. I remember the boardroom where we have a lot of our teachings. That was the first place I was walked up to meet all the staff, and I trained all the managers and supervisors here. The building was called Riddle and Cockrell. And then they went out of business, and Andy bought this building. So, and then years later, I met Andy about in his office to talk about doing some training here right around 2011. 2011 was the time that I made my first visit over here after 1995. So there was a big gap there before I came back. But it's just, it's a big place. And if you've never been, find me. I will give you a tour, and I'll give you the behind the scenes tour. I'm happy to do that. So today I was asked to do this, and I put a little bit of something together for you, try to get us thinking in the right direction before the convention starts. So we're going to look at some slides, just a few slides that I have, and I didn't want to bombard you with slides today, but I think Jack or somebody, we have the title. Jack's really the guy that I go to, and he wants to know, what are you talking about, Jeff? Because I've got to promote it. I've got to know how to describe it. I got to know what to tell people they're going to learn on the TWC. And I'm like, yesterday I was like, I don't know, Jack. I don't know. Let me think about it. And I thought about it and got back to him late afternoon and gave him a title called The 3 C's to Success. I'm not sure, are those, Jack, are you out there or somebody, is that available to bring up on the screen now? Now would be a good time. If not, I can talk through it if we don't have them.
Give me just a second, Jeff. Okay,
all right. The 3 C's to Success, there's a lot of things we can talk about on, we could just have a talk just on 1 C at a time. But the first C, we're going to spend a lot more time on the first C, which is commitment. And the second C is consistency. And the third C is completion. Now, these are not my C's. This is somebody else's from a long time ago, back in the early 90s. I went to a seminar, and I remember the guy talking about, you got to get people to navigate these 3 C's for them to become successful. I'm not sure, because we're not, able to talk to each other, which of these C's do you think is the most important? And I know that's a loaded question, like importance. Importance how, Jeff? Well, I'm getting involved in this business by recruiting some now. Me and Erica Gold are recruiting, and I'm learning a lot from that experience, and I'm learning a lot from Erica. But I guess, in my opinion, before I got involved, I would have picked a different C. But now that I'm actually doing what you guys do, getting my hands involved in it, I think I pick a different C now. So I don't know which one you think you would pick, but I'm going to tell you the one I picked before. I was just looking from the outside in, so to speak. And now that I've got a really good feel for what you guys do by doing it, that's the only way you can really learn is to do something. I think I'd have picked a different C. So commitment, consistency, and completion. And I'm thinking about how we move an agent through our process, because I see everything as a process, because I come from not just the academic world. As you all know, I worked at a college for 30 years and I was the vice president. I was not the vice president. I was one of the vice presidents. There were 6 of us. So let's don't get feeling really impressed by what I just said. There were 6 of us that reported to the president. And I also was a sociology professor, as some of you know. But I did, in my role as vice president, I was vice president over economic development. And I was involved in bringing the companies to this county. I was at the table. I had a seat at the table, and we negotiated with the companies that would come in. They would not tell us their name because they couldn't, because they wouldn't want you to know Mercedes was looking at about putting a facility in Alamance County, because the people that owned the land would jack the land prices up, so they had to keep it quiet. So everything had a nickname, and everything was named after birds for some reason. Project Bluebird, everything was a bird name. Project Cardinal, Project Robin. And we were sworn to secrecy. We never could talk about who we talked to. And I just remember being at the table. And the one thing they wanted to know about Alamance County on my end is, what kind of labor force did we have? Did we have people that wanted to work? Did we have people that could learn, that could be a good employee and not just a worker, somebody that was of good character? And obviously they did a lot of background checks. And I was involved in screening all these workers. I mean, I did all these interviews at all these companies, trying to find them the best possible person that would fit into what they considered a good employee. And so when I did that at the college, that was really my main job. And that led me to meet all these companies. And then all these companies wanted to hire me as a consultant to go to their company and work with them. And they would try to court me away from the college, but I was not going to leave the college because I had spent all this time. And if I made it 30 years, guess what? I got my medical and my dental and my vision and all that paid for the rest of my life. And I've got a retirement check that comes every month, which is very nice. So it's very difficult to walk away from something after 20 years, but I'll tell you what, that first 20 years went by really fast, and that last 10 years, oh my God, I thought it would never end. When I walked out of that college that day, I said to myself, I'm never coming back here. And I didn't. I only went back to see my former admin, Sheila. She was the only person that I really cared about. And I went back to see her, and I promised her I would always come back and see her, because she felt like that I kind of left her there. And I kind of did. But she passed away of COVID in 2020. So I have really no reason to go back there now. But I do have fond memories of not the people I work with, but the students that I served. And hopefully I made a difference in their life. So I did go and do a lot of training at companies, and I got hired by those companies as consultants too. And I still get calls from the companies that I work with, and I'm very proud of the work I've done at Chick-fil-A and Honda and Walmart and LabCorp and a lot of companies you've never heard of. I think I've taught and actually been in the facility over 163 companies. So, and some of them made a widget, and some of them are basically, customer service, transactional type worlds. Some of them are rest homes, some of them are police departments. But I really enjoy my time that I get to spend here. I've actually got an office. I'm in this office now. And I met a lot of nice people through the years, agents that have come and gone, and some of them went on to do other things. Insurance was not their deal. They tried. The one person I think of is Elizabeth. I get to see her name every day when I walk in here because her name's on this painting. And this is, those of you that know me know I love The Wizard of Oz. And Elizabeth sold insurance for a little bit. And then she got tired of it. It was burnt out from it. And her gift was she was an artist. And she got hired at a school to teach art. And she stopped being a hairdresser. And she pursued her dream and got her art degree. And today she's doing it. She's doing it. So as a parting gift, she gave me my favorite scene of The Wizard of Oz. When they come out of the woods and they see that that Emerald City, and there's the yellow brick road, and there's the poppy fields. This is her rendition of that. So that reminds me every day that, we have people that come, some stay and some leave. And we've had some that come and stay here. We got some that come and leave, and then they go on and they get another job, and we're happy for them. We are a profit center, first and foremost, but secondly, we do believe in helping people achieve their dreams. And I'm always there for anybody that needs my help. I hope you all have realized that through the years. So I've been doing this since 2011. I made my first appearance here as the keynote speaker in 2011, and at a big event. And I remember walking in and seeing all these people out here crammed in this little small area that I now see as a small area. Well, we got such a bigger place to hold events now, but we used to have this one place in the center here. And I remember walking out there, and I knew right off the bat they were breaking fire codes. I knew it. These people were crammed in there like sardines. I think it now holds officially like 700 people or something like that, or 900 people. They had 1,500 people out there, and they were fired up out of their mind. I wasn't really fired up out of my mind because I never have got fired up out of my mind to speak, because nobody really listens to what I had to say at the college. They just the students kind of went to sleep, took a nap while I talked. So that's not the case when you come here. Everybody is very alert, and they hang on every word you say. And that was a very culture shock for me. That was something that it took me a little bit to get used to, people not sleeping in front of me while I talk. Those days are behind me now. I expect you guys to be happy, enthusiastic, and say things like, which I thought it was very odd in the beginning when I would go out and speak, that people on the front row would say my first and last name. They would say stuff like, "That's Jeff Bright." And I'm thinking, when they first did it, I thought, is something wrong with them? Why are they stating the obvious? Yeah, my name is Jeff Bright. And some of you still say my first name with my last name. That's fine. If that's how you want to identify me, you must know a lot of Jeffs, so you have to say, "That's Jeff Bright." But I just remember being there, and you guys, my fondest memory before I get started, it was my oddest memory, which was, and he knows that I talk about him this way. Mike Leventovich was on the front row, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't see anybody else but Mike, because Mike was that guy who didn't have an expression at all on his face. He had the void of expression. He had no expression. He was just sitting there looking at me. And for whatever reason, it threw me off. It threw my game off. And I just kept coming back, like, is he still staring at me? And I'd look at it, and I couldn't tell if he was happy or sad or anything. He was just looking. And now he told me that he was actually paying attention, and that was the look that he had when he's paying attention. But I just remember that in 2011. And then you fast forward these many years later, in 2017, I retired from the college, and I got to come over here and actually have an office and be more of a part of this, which is one of my favorite jobs that I've ever done, and favorite companies I've ever been in. I have been in some companies that just kind of get you right here when you walk in, and this place here is just, well, you'll find out how I feel about it. I'm going to share a letter I've written Friday night before I start talking. And after I talk, I'm going to finish the letter, but how I feel about this company. But I can't say that it's probably the second most impactful to my heart besides this first company. I went to a company out in near Anaheim in California, and they made babies breast milk for preemies, some kind of synthetic stuff that somebody had created at UCLA. And I just remember walking in there, and when you walked in there, you got it. You figured out. They knew what their why was. You figured it out real quick when you walked in there, because when you walked in there, they had a lobby sort of like our lobby. It was very lofted, tall, high ceilings, and a lot of wall space. And they filled every wall space with the photos of each of the babies that they had saved their lives. And when you walked through there to go to work, you understood that it wasn't just a job. It was quite impactful for me. I still think about that place. Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit of a background about how I got here. So let's talk about these 3 C's. And Tia, you had brought them up. I saw them pop up there for a second. And yeah, let's see. I made up this quote. I don't know if it's a good quote or not. Now, when I can't find a quote, I'll make a quote up. I couldn't find a quote about these 3 things. So I said, it's funny when you write something a long time ago, you look back on and go, I don't know if I like that now. Was I smoking dope when I wrote that? I don't know. I don't smoke dope, by the way, but that's just me being funny. Commitment is what drives you. Consistency is what disciplines you. And completion is what rewards you. Of these 3, I used to think it started with commitment, and it was actually the most important piece of these 3 C's. Getting people to make a commitment. After doing it for a while now, I think Erica would agree with me. Getting people to make that initial commitment is probably not the hardest thing. I'm not opposed to running into somebody that's telling me all the reasons they can't do it. I think that's just code for I'm waiting for you to talk me into it. And I try to talk them into it. So commitment is not the biggest hurdle here. I used to think so. I think it's now consistency. It's one thing to get people in our world when we recruit people to commit. And what do we mean by commit? What would be examples of that? Commit to carrier contract. To carrier contract. Maybe commit to writing a policy on themselves. Those are forms of commitments, I think. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal, getting that done. But a bigger deal to me is the second one. We don't have to go to that. You can stay right there. You can actually go back to that. Well, you can leave it there. Okay, leave it there. Yeah. The consistency part comes after the honeymoon period's over. And let's say you got them to write a piece of business on themselves. Consistently doing it over and over again, that's tougher. I know. Once you get them in the door and you've recruited them, now you've got to help them and train them and have meetings with them and walk them through different things. There's a lot more going on after the commitment. The commitment seems fairly easy to me. It's the consistency of going out and writing business, either in a home or virtually, however you do it, doing it over and over again. And writing it on yourself is one thing, writing it on a family member is another thing, but actually going and writing on complete strangers and doing that over and over again. Because if you don't do it over and over again, and you only do it one time, you kind of treat this business like a lottery winner. Like, I've hit the jackpot. I made, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000 in a month, and you think you're rich. And you're like, I can stop now. I'll come back. I'll recommit. I'll come back. But I'm gonna take this 10,000, even though it's not 10,000 because you got to pay tax on it. But some of you need to figure out that you need to pay tax on this money, and then you bought some leads, so it's not entirely $10,000. But let's just call it 5,000. Some people think they're rich, and that's wonderful. But you're not done. You've not made it to the third C just because you had success in 1 month, or even 2 months, or even 3 months. Sticking around and doing it over and over again is what impresses me. Completion is, hey, let's set a 6-month goal. Let's make it to the end of the 6 months. That's the completion piece. And a lot of people, they're good out of the gate, but they don't make it to the finish line. But they think they redraw the finish line. Oh, my finish line is not 6 months now. It's look what I did in a month. And then they disappear for a little bit. We call it going on the witness protection program, and they disappear, they ghost us, and then they come back and they're like, hey, I'm ready to go on another run. Andy calls it a 90-day run. Well, if you want to call it a 90-day run, you want to say, hey, my completion date is at the end of 90 days. That's 3 months, all right? Whatever your completion dates, that is your finish line. You don't need to renegotiate the finish line and keep backing it up, making it closer to where you started. That is not the ideal way to treat the third C as a no. There is no real finish line. It's just wherever I want it to be, when I want it to be, wherever it's convenient for me. So these are the 3 C's. So we're going to talk about some of this today a little bit. I hope this is interesting to you. I'm guessing that out there that this is, it's weirder talking to you guys when there's no crowd. I can feed off the crowd. All right. So let's look at here. Let's look at this. So the first one is commitment when dedication kills excuse. Yeah. If you're not making a true commitment, then the commitment has to have some element of, I'm going to dedicate what? I'm going to dedicate some time that I have never allocated to something like this. I've allocated my time somewhere else. Because to me, all this is about allocation, or better yet, reallocation of your time. That's all we're doing when we're trying to work with you and set up a schedule, is trying to figure out, where do you have your time allocated? Which of the allocations are what we call value added to your life, which are non-negotiable for you? And which are the areas where you have some places where you're doing some non-value added stuff? Now, some people would argue with you about the difference between value added and non-value added. Now, value added to me, if you don't have somebody to take your child to school, or you might, but you like spending that time in the morning with your elementary school kid and taking them and getting in the line to drop them off because you want to say goodbye to your little boy or little girl, and nobody else needs to have that job but you. Then that would be value added for you. And I don't want to infringe on that. But over here, some people would say playing pickleball is not a value added activity. I would probably want to debate that, because for me, I like doing it. I will try to justify it because I'm like, hey, it helps me stay in shape. It helps me with my cholesterol. That's not really the reason I do it. It's, I like, at the end of the day, when I'm frustrated, to, hit that ball as hard as I can and try to put a hole through somebody's body, which sounds very ugly. When it comes out of my mouth, it sounds like I'm being violent or something, but I'm not saying I have aggression issues, but I'm pretty calm. But when I get on the pickleball court, I really enjoy hitting people. Like, I don't know why, especially Mike Guerra. I do like to try to put a hole through him for some reason. Go figure. I don't know why I would want to do that. I mean, he's such a person that you would never want to put a pickleball through. But I feel bad when I hit Clay with the ball. I really do. I feel real bad because Clay's such a nice guy, and I'm like, let me say, Mike's such a nice guy too. I always apologize when I hit him with the pickleball. Anyway, I had to put that in. All right. So what happened to the slide? See, it went away again. I can't see it. Okay. All right. What did I say? Reminder here. Well, I'm going to blow this up so I can see it. Commitment is about the sacrifice in one's effort. When you're sacrificing for something, excuse becomes your least priority. That is true. What are you willing to sacrifice that you once allocated time for? What are you willing to say, I'm not going to do this non-value added activity, and I'm going to take what Andy calls an income producing activity. I call it a value added activity. I'm going to add something new to my schedule, and I'm going to sacrifice this thing that maybe I'll find, it's good for my mental state, and it's fun, but it's not making me any money, because believe me, pickleball is never going to make me any money. I did it last night. Some people would say I just wasted 2 hours of my life. But I felt better after I did it. So the second bullet point I wrote here is commitment is not measured by how strongly you feel about something, but what you're willing to give up or dedicate time toward. Commitment is not really a feeling. It's more of a rational decision that you're making to allocate your time somewhere else. So that's basically what I said there with that. So let's keep it there for a second. I don't know. I guess you're taking it down, Tia, because then they can see me more than they look at the slide. If I'm done with that slide, we can come back to number 2 in a minute. You can take it down now if you want to. Thank you. I'm figuring this out, Tia, as we go along, how this works. Let's talk about commitment. Let's spend a little bit more time on that than we do the other ones. All right. So, commitment is all about two things. Confidence and initiative. It's almost about confidence means you're in a state of reliance. You're gonna now start relying on your skills. If you don't have confidence, you're probably not going to make a commitment. And confidence really is code for, do you have the nerve to do something different than you've done before? You're going to change up your world a little bit. Do you have the nerve to get rid of that non-value added activity and add a value-added activity? Or do you have the nerve? The nerve, I get that from The Wizard of Oz. A lot of people say the Cowardly Lion didn't have courage. He never talked about courage, ever talked about courage. He didn't say that he didn't have courage. What he said he didn't have was the nerve to do something, to get outside of this fear that he had of trying to be anything different other than he was. So he was saying, I need to find the nerve. When he asked the wizard what he wanted, now the wizard called it courage, but he didn't ask for courage. He asked for the nerve. And that's what you need to make that commitment to this business. I want to back up and say, to these 3 C's, there is it's not a C, it's a D word, that is the prerequisite to the 3 C's. And we sometimes we kind of ignore this and go straight into commitment. And it's hard to understand commitment without understanding the prerequisite to commitment, which is the word decide. You have to decide that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. If you don't decide that, this commitment that you're making without that decision is under false pretenses. You may be saying all the right things. I meet agents that we're recruiting. They say all the right things in the beginning. If what comes out of their mouth would actually turn into reality, their business and this place, we would have to build another room to hold the people coming, because they would achieve beyond their wildest dreams. What happened? No. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but some people, they just go, hey, I really haven't decided. And then I find out that when they say, hey, I want to sell insurance. Oh, you do? You sure? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then I find out later that they really hadn't decided. They're committing without a decision. And they'll say, yeah, I'm going to do it. Can I get you carrier contracted today? You know, today's not a good day. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Now, if you decided that you're going to do this, when I tell you we're carrier contracting in an hour from now, you're going, put me down. I'll move some stuff around. Yeah. But because they really hadn't decided, that commitment is kind of wavering, and they go, you know what? It's Thursday. Can we wait till Monday? Monday's a better day. Tomorrow is always a better day for people that hadn't decided today. And that commitment turns into they're going to. I want to say this I want to say it in a nice way. They're not telling me the truth. They're not going to be there Monday. You know what's going to happen Monday, don't you? They're not going to show Monday, and I'm never going to meet them again. Never. But I thought the 30 minutes I spent with them was productive, because I heard a commitment coming out of their mouth, and they're ready for a new beginning, and I'm going to do this thing. Another example of where without a decision that commitment falls short is after we get them carrier contract. By the way, I do not call it, for those of you, Eric and I do not call that step carrier contracting. That is such a scary, scary term. It's almost like, going into a haunted house. They do not, little antsy. We call that getting your writing numbers. Okay, that sounds so much better. It's not threatening. It's not scary. Doesn't sound painful or hard. So, yeah, that's not that. We get them to do it within an hour, 2 hours after we talk to them, and then they get their writing numbers. Yeah. The real red flag is once we do the onboarding. And the onboarding is when I find out that commitment was not founded upon a decision. There was no decision. It was just a commitment that was an idle promise. Because a commitment without a decision is nothing self, and you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. By now, you've got an example that you are a walking billboard for this business. And some of them go, I'm committed, and I'm going to write $10,000 a month, but I'm not going to write a policy on myself right now. Red flag, another red flag. Huge red flag. And I'm thinking they might as well just be waving a red flag. you don't want to write one for $5 a month, $10 a month. No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to do that. But I am going to do this business. I'm thinking, no, you're just you're telling me a fib, telling me a straight up fib, and I'm like, why do you want to tell me these lies? Right? We just met each other. What's the point? But people that decide that I'm going to do this business, come hell or high water, I'm going to do this business. This commitment goes so much more smoothly. Oh my God, it goes smoothly. They get their writing numbers. They go, sure, I'll write a policy on myself. Yeah, absolutely. I understand personal use because I show it to them. We have, it's one of the first step, right? I didn't even realize. I've seen that 8-step book all these times, and I've given talks on it. But until I lived it, I didn't understand how important step number 1 was to this business, to making sure this commitment turns into consistency. But we got 2 different types of people making commitments. 2 different types. Not one size does not fit all when you're trying to get people to honor their commitment. We have 2 types, doers and believers. And they are entirely different to deal with, the doers and the believers. Now, some of you are probably going, you know what? I like a doer. Yeah, I like a doer. Yeah, a doer is they're gonna make this happen. But there are not a lot of doers out there. They're probably about 15% of the population. Then the rest of the population are believers. The believers have to be courted. I don't know if y'all know that term, courted in a different way. They have to be led to the finish line a different way. That would be something that we might be able to discuss that just a little bit here. Yeah. So what's the best way to leave a good impression upon you guys I don't have a slide for that, by the way. Doers and believers. I guess I could tie, I could tie it to, so you could have an analogy in your head about, you remember the animals, the 4 animals, not the 8 animals. The doers fall in the category of the beavers and the lions. So there's 2 types of doers. So the beavers are the thinking doers, and the lions are the winning doers. So the beavers will think their way into a do, and the winners, the lions, will do their way into a win. Now, which one would you rather work with? Obviously, the ones that want to do their way into a win. They don't need a lot of hand-holding, don't need a lot of help. They're just going to figure it out on their own. The beavers, that type of doer, the thinkers that have to think their way, they have to understand it a little bit, they have to be explained to them a little bit. That takes them a little bit more time. And those thinkers, they really, really want to know a lot about the products. That's that group that wants to know about the products. And they want to go watch all the videos. They want to call Gina, talk to her a lot. But those lion winners, they're gonna find a way to make it work. They're just gonna plow through it. They're not gonna ask a lot of questions. They just get out there and start doing it. They're not afraid to make mistakes. Those are the 2 types of doers. Then if we look at the 2 types of believers, which I'm in this category, a lot of people are in these categories. If the doers are people that just get out there and they let their what dictate why they do it, instead of why their way into a what, they what their way into a why. these believers have got to why their way into a what. They've got to feel their way into a do. So these believers are fillers. Or one type is a filler. The one type that's a filler that makes up 58% of the population, the filler believer is somebody that has to believe their way into a field. This would be our good friends, the golden retrievers. They got like the thinkers, it's got to make sense in their head. The goldens, it's got to make sense in their heart. And some of you that are doers do not know how to motivate somebody that's here when you're up here. Now, the thinkers obviously are thinking between these 2 points and trying to think their way into a do. Those lions that are just trying to win, they're doing it with their temperament, not their brain, not their heart, but their aggression, their temperament is what they use that as a survivor technique. They're survivors. They have a survivor mentality. I'm going to plow through this and I'm going to get to the end regardless of all the things that's thrown at me. That is the winners. And they win often. And, they'll do whatever it takes to win. Now, the fillers, the goldens that believe their way into a field, those types of believers, they are, they're not so much want to figure it out as much as they want to feel good about the process. And some of you get frustrated talking to them. Can they do good work? Yes, but they need a different approach. You can't come at them with your temperament and with your brain. You can't go, you can't call them names and say, you're not thinking smart. Use your brain, use your brawn. Brain and brawn strategies do not work with the golden retriever. There's another way to get them to accept this business, because that's what they need to do. They need to accept the business. They have not, their decision is pending on accepting. I pride myself on being, what do you call it? The golden retriever whisperer. Y'all have never seen me recruit. Erica has seen it. I am the golden retriever whisperer. I know exactly what to say to them to get them to commit. And it would shock you if you listen to me do it, because it's not something we've ever taught. It's not something none of you do. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know if y'all are ready to watch me do that. Because some of you go, I can't do that. That's not true. You can do it. You don't want to do it. Because if I made you do it the way I did it to reach this 58%, I think some of you doers, you lions and beavers, would throw up in your mouth, especially you beavers. That's a bad image, right? That's a terrible image. What do I say to them? I know y'all are curious about what I say to them. I tell them, I'm not going to go into detail about it. I describe to them this culture in a way that you've never described it to them. I tell them that this is the place they can finally call home, that we will never, I know Erica's laughing right now, we will never, ever, and I mean this thing. That's another thing. The reason you guys can't do it, you doers can't do it like I do, because you don't mean it. You got to mean it. You can't be trusted if you're not trustworthy. I mean this thing. I tell them, we will never abandon you. Now, I don't know if I speak for all of you, but damn it, I speak for myself. Am I recruiting somebody in this? I'm not going to abandon them. I don't care if they irritate the crap out of me. I'm going to help them, because they're human beings first and they're agents second. And they know it when I talk to them, that I don't see them as a piece of property. I see them as a human being. And I treat them as such. And I use language like that. And they like it. They love it. And they're saying, where do I sign up? That's the first type of believers, the fillers, the golden retrievers. Now, the second type is me. And me, my type, we need a whole different script if you want to get us to do this. And what I say to my people will make you cringe. I'm fearful about even telling you. Now, ours are not called fillers. Our type of believers are called the talkers. And we'll talk you to death. We'll keep you on a phone call and take you down rabbit hole after rabbit hole. And then at the end, we ain't buying nothing from you, and we ain't signing an agent agreement. We ain't doing nothing. But we have sounded like the whole conversation we're going to do this thing. We will talk our way into believing something. So we're otters, if you didn't know that. I'm debating whether to tell you what I say to my people, but it gets my people to do it. I listen to them talk, man. I listen to them talk. We just talk back and forth. We're just filling the air with words. It's a word fest. And I know Erica sits there and goes, because she's not an otter, she sits there and goes, oh my God, when are they going to shut up? They're just back and forth and back and forth. And we're talking about nothing that has anything to do with insurance. Absolutely nothing. I tell them the truth. This is the group that I tell the truth to, because they want to hear it really bad. I want to hear it. They want to hear it. And I tell them exactly during the interview what a chargeback is, how it works. I talk about what the upline's going to make off of them. I talk about everything that's behind the curtain. I open it up and I let them see right inside. And once they see the truth and the curtain opens up, they're ready to sign up. They're ready to sign up. But that's the group that I tell them everything. I'm like, hey, you're going to come in at a 55. Your upline is at a 95. They're going to make 40%. And I show them exactly how the math works. And they're like, oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you and this is what they tell me. Thank you for being so transparent. I want to know the truth. As an otter, I want to know. I want to be privileged enough that you told me something the rest of the people didn't get to hear. We want to be on the inside. We want some inside information. And I give them inside information. And that's how I sign them up. It's pretty daggone simple. It's not difficult. I hope this is making sense, guys. I hope so. I'm just telling you a little bit of what we do. Tia, can we go to the second C, consistency? Routine up here is you want to get some clarity about how this works. Be teachable enough, be humble enough to accept a routine, which is code for a schedule. Schedule is everything when you're trying to get people to be consistent. It really is. Let's see. That's funny. I don't even read my slides anymore. Let's see what I wrote here as a reminder. Hope it's good. Consistency is about quality in one's effort. When you allow quality attempts, which means being interested in getting results, to replace going through the motions, not interested in getting results. Vagueness of task, which means no meaning behind the attempt, starts to have clarity, which is the reason for the attempt in the first place. Then you get quality of effort. Quantity of effort is people just making dials and not, they're thinking, well, if I just make the dials, suddenly things are going to start happening. Now you got to make quality dials. You got to treat each dial like it's about to change your bank account, because it could. The next one could change your bank account. It's not just going through the motions of making dials. It's the quality of the dial. And then when you get some on the phone, you want to write quality business. You don't want to target people with a premium they can't afford. You're looking for a chargeback. Why do people do that? I've never understood that. Why don't we write quality business? Quality is the earmark to consistency. Second dot. Consistency is maintained when you stop living between failure and survival and start accepting the boring habit of routine. Yeah, you want to, some of you just live between the world of, I failed, oh my God, what am I going to do? Or I just barely paid my bills and I'm surviving. Most Americans live between failure and survival. They live one paycheck away from poverty. If they're lucky, they live 3 paychecks away from poverty. If you can start accepting the system, the routine, then you can get out of that cycle of, I'm just going to sit here and live on the edge between failure and survival. That routine gives you something to create consistency, and that's what you lack. Instead of all this up and down, what we call feast or famine type income, we want to see a consistent routine. When consistency is important, also when you're getting people started, they always tell me, what's more important? I like to see you get, I don't know, 1 app a week, 4 in a month. If that's your goal, if your goal's 2, then that'd be 8 in a month. They'll go, hey, I can write 8 in a week. Okay, that's great. Right. Or I can write 6 in a week. And I'm like, well, you just said you wanted to be consistently doing 1 a week, 4 in a month. I'd rather see somebody write 1 a week, 4 in a month, than 6 in a week and 0 in the next 3 weeks. Even though 4 is not equal, unless it is less than 6. I'd rather not see that 6 in a week. I'd rather see consistency. Scratch out something every week. Consistency is our biggest enemy in this business. This is where we're not growing because we haven't figured out this. I don't know what you guys think about that. Why am I asking that question? You can't talk to me. So why am I asking that question? It's just crazy that I'm asking that. All right. So let's go to the third C. And then we can come back and put everything together because I got to see what time it is. Oh, yeah. We're getting to the bewitching hour, right? All right. Let's go to the third C, completion. I hope y'all are liking this. Yeah, I'd actually like to witness this sometime. I'm so busy trying to get people to be consistent. I'm not sure. Well, we have calls. I do calls every week. You guys, some of you guys are on them. We call them accountability calls, and we set up a 1 month goal, a 2 month goal, and everybody checks in every week to see how close they are to get to their goal. But we do have a goal, and at the end, we actually look at how many, if it's applications submitted, applications issued, if it's premium, whatever they're using as a criteria, they have a finish line. They're trying to get there. They're trying to tell me, hey, I want to do 20 apps in a month. And they come up short and they do 17. We go, hey, what went wrong? What could you have done different? We call them accountability calls. And on that accountability call, we are setting a completion date. completion of that goal. And it's funny, when you start winning in this business, the stress that you used to obsess about, the negativity you used to obsess about, winning will solve all those problems. If you start writing business and you don't get chargebacks and you actually have money in your account, the stress of this business goes away. The winning kills that anxiety. It kills the negativity. Hitting your marks and having marks to hit are important. What did I write here? Completion is about the quantity. Now we're not talking about quality. Quality was the piece that was important to consistency. Now, quantity of your effort. Now we can measure the actual quantity actually, but before that, we have to look at the quality of your business. When you have a quantity, a number to hit, obsession, stress becomes your least concern. The chase will replace the anxiety. What did I write here? Task completion is one of the most fundamental metrics to measure success. It is. It's been proven. Doing the do is a process, but completing the do is a win. See, doing the do is actually the consistency piece. Completing the actual do and hitting a mark that you've set or a metric is how you become a winner. Winners hit their marks. So when we go, are you doing the do? That just means, are you doing what you're supposed to do? Are you mastering the mundane during the consistency piece of this? That's the difference. So I'm gonna wrap this up and then we'll finish early, but I want to go back to number one, if I could. Number one. I got so many. Y'all can, you know what's good about this? They put my phone up on a box that's really high. I really like this, even though aesthetically it looks horrible. Y'all can't see my papers down here. So it looks like I'm really smart because I'm saying all these things, but I'm actually reading these off a piece of paper. So what is the enemy of commitment? Just because we can sit here and talk about getting people to make a decision and then that commitment is standing on stable ground. There's two things that I talk about it, and I do talk about it quite a bit on the calls, and I think I did talk about it at the intense training. There's two things that's trying to kill your commitment. Kill your confidence, kill your initiative, because that's what commitment's founded upon, confidence and initiative. Confidence is going to be attacked by doubt. Doubt. I'm not concerned with doubt. I can fix doubt. I can fix doubt with the words that come out of my mind. I can reprogram somebody to be more confident and be less doubtful. That is not a problem. Even though it seems like a huge problem, it's not the biggest problem that we face. Because doubt, when people are doubting, and this is the part that you need to realize what doubt is bringing to the table as an enemy to commitment. Doubt is saying three things. Why bother? How could I ever trust again? And who am I fooling? That's doubt's basically, that's the three bullets in its gun that it's using to keep you from making a commitment and sticking to it, being dedicated to that commitment, getting rid of the excuse that exists in your past. Doubt basically says, why bother? Things are fine like they are. Why bother? Life is tough. It's not going to get any better. Why bother changing? It's tough for everybody. Why bother? Doubt also says, hey, people out there are unpredictable. They're cruel. They're mean. And you've had some bad relationships. You've had some bad fights with your family. You're dating. You're jaded. Doubt says you're jaded, and you should be jaded. People taking advantage of you and treat you like a doormat. How could you ever trust again? How could you ever trust again? Don't trust again. What's the point? That'll affect your commitment. And then, who am I fooling? Is really code for I don't believe I'm all who I say I am. I don't think people realize I'm really not all that. I'm not smart. I have a lot of problems. I'm depressed. I have anxiety. I mean, I'm a mess. Who am I fooling? They're going to figure me out. Doubt says they're going to figure you out. They're going to figure you out. You got to stop. You got to stop with this commitment stuff. If you keep kicking this can down the road, they're going to figure you out. And when they do, they're going to call you a fraud. And you don't want that. You don't want that. That's what doubt does. That's pretty good. Doubt's got some, they got some game, right? Doubt's got some game. I'm not afraid of doubt. I can help you with that. Doubt doesn't scare me. The next one does on commitment. The next enemy to commitment, after doubt gets through with you and you kill doubt because now you've got some confidence, you've put the past in the past, you're trusting the present, you're living in the present, and you believe tomorrow is going to be a better day, you are totally confident. Now you're going to take some initiative and you're going to start doing some things that you've never done. You're going to take new ground every day. And doubt goes, all right, next up is procrastination. Procrastination gets on board and it tells you, hey, they want you to do what? They want you to make all these dials. They want you to go to a hotspot. They want you to come to a convention in North Carolina. Oh my goodness. They want a lot, don't they? Whoever they are, whoever's they, your upline, Andy, all these people telling you to do all this stuff. You want to buy some leads. Oh, you got to buy some leads. You better invest in some, Erica, what do we call them? High intent leads. See, I'm learning that word from Erica. High intent leads. They're asking for a whole lot. Because procrastination goes, don't they know? Don't they know? You got low energy. You got no energy to do all that. And you know what? You really haven't found your why yet. You don't know what your purpose is. You're still looking for it. Like it's an Easter egg hunt. I'll do that in there as a joke because, it's getting close to Easter. That's my Easter joke. And you really don't have anything you stand up for you believe in. You're just kind of going through don't they know you're just going through the motion? That's about the best you can do. Just put in your 8 and hit the gate. And, you're in Groundhog's Day and you're Bill Murray and this is your life. You're tired. You're not ready to do this. And you sure ain't got the time to do it. That's procrastination. And some of you just let them right in your house. Procrastination comes knocking and you let them come walking right on in. If you invite a vampire in your house, that's the only way they can get in your house. The only way you let procrastination in your life is you invite it in. It can't come unless you invite it. It can't come past the threshold. It's like a vampire. Vampires cannot come past the threshold of your door unless you invite them in. Just so you'll know, if an agent don't come to your house, but a vampire does, don't invite a vampire in because they will never leave. Procrastination is just like that. And procrastination will suck the life right out of you. That's a vampire joke. Yeah. So those are the two enemies that you need to deal with that's trying to kill your commitment. Tia, how am I doing? Am I doing all right with this time and everything?
You're killing it, Jeff. You're doing great. You got 20 minutes left or less.
Or less. I'm going to try to, let's go to the next one and look at the two enemies. Two enemies, we'll go quicker here. The two enemies to consistency. Oh my God, this one here is the worst enemy of all enemies. There's two of them that's going to try to kill your consistency. One of them, this one is like it's like luggage. Some of you got luggage that you've had for like 30 years. I mean, still in a closet somewhere. This one's going to be like luggage. It ain't ever leaving. And it don't have to be invited in. It just grows from the inside of your house. And it just appears one day and is laying beside you on the pillow at night. This is the most god-awful enemy of all that will try to kill your consistency. Regret. Oh, my God. Some of you are not old enough to have lived long enough for regret to just show up. You walk home and all of a sudden regret sitting in your favorite chair with your big screen and watching what it wants to watch. Regret's in there eating the food out of your kitchen and the stuff that you bought. You bought you some cherry Pop-Tarts and regret's in there eating all of them. Regret is going to try to keep you from being consistent because regret lives in the past. Regret says, hey, man, you had your shot. You've had your time. You can't rewrite history. It's too late for you. You're 37. By the way, that's officially when regret starts to show up. So if you're not 37 yet, if you're 27, you got about 10 more years and then regret just appears. If you're over 37, sorry, I hate it for you. But the only way that you can kill regret, slay that dragon, is basically quit worrying about what you've not done and start worrying about what you can do moving forward. Quit worrying about the things you cannot control and start thinking about what, if an opportunity shows up, look at it, kick the tires, and decide maybe I should take a closer look at this. There are going to be people coming to this convention this weekend that are brand new to this business. We owe it to them to be on our best behavior. We owe it to them because this is the first time they've seen it. You may have seen it 20 times. You've got old eyes now. You're going to have to refresh your look at this convention and look at it like it's the first time. I know Christmas is for kids. Us adults have had our time, and Christmas was special for us. But now we can look at Christmas through the kids' eyes, and we can look at this convention through the eyes of these new people that are coming, and we need to be good ambassadors. I want us to make sure that we create a desire to do this business, because desire is what keeps consistency alive, is the desire, the want to. If you want to do something, you'll stay consistent at it. But if you don't want to do it, regret will take over, because one day you're going to wake up and you're old and you're going to look and go, have I wasted my life? I still look at every day with brand new eyes. I've done this talk 100 times, but some of you have never seen it. So I owe it to you to do it with fresh perspective, like I've never done it before. Some of you have been to these conventions a lot. You need to come to them like you ain't never been here, because there's going to be people around here that's their first time. We owe it to them to look at the convention through fresh eyes. And I don't have regrets, because when an opportunity is put in front of me, I check it out. It may not change my life. It may not be for me. And some of these people coming here, this may not be what they want. And God bless them, they go on, and I wish them the best of luck. But it may be. But they'll never know if they don't have their eyes open. We need to make sure their eyes stay open so that they don't have a regret one day that they didn't try this out. Because as the Greeks say, there's only 7 opportunities presented to you in a lifetime. 5 of them we'll never see because we walk around during that opportunity with our eyes shut. The other 2, we don't even give them a fair chance. Let's let these people have a fair chance at looking at this thing. Let's do our part. Let's don't have them suffer from regret. That's one thing that kills consistency. The second thing that kills consistency is deviation. And deviation, to me, when people become, consistency is all about setting goals and being ambitious. And also it's about being very driven within those goals. Driven enough that you stay hungry every day. and remember where you came from. You're the strongest that you ever were when you were struggling. Keep that hunger, keep that edge with you, and you'll stay consistent. And deviation will not tempt you, because deviation is the biggest temptress there is. Deviation is not telling you to abandon the plan. It's telling you to start doing it your way. They say to stay on this highway, but there's an exit coming up. It looks like it might be a shortcut. I'm going to take that exit. I'm going to try to take the shortcut. How about following the people and be consistent to the system that's worked for everybody that came before you? And quit trying to deviate from the plan early on, because deviation will also kill your consistency. And then the third C, completion. I really don't have any enemies for the third C. I just have the 4 right now. It's a work in progress. So that's that's my talk. That's my talk for today. I hope y'all got something out of it. I always appreciate y'all taking time to listen to me. And I look forward to seeing some of you that are coming at the convention. Thanks a lot. We'll see you Friday.